Good morning, Harris Academy. My name is Mr. Doherty and I'm joined by my co-presenter,
Mr. Rickenberg.
And we are here for our weekly ramble of jogging around the world. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. We can see ourselves.
We'll tell them about
We're on the in a second.
Yeah, we'll tell them in a sec. Say good morning first.
Good morning.
Good morning. Say good morning to Ava.
Good morning, Ava.
Good morning.
Good morning to our wonderful producer, Ava. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
So the reason why this guy is smiling like the Cheshire Cat over there is extremely smug. Why are you so happy?
Because I love my reflection and I can see it on the podcast.
What can you see it on?
I can see it on our posh new camera.
Posh new camera that we have to thank the Thomas family for getting. Mr. Maxted as well.
Yeah, it's pretty much purely all there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they did this for us.
Yeah,
so to our listeners,
for a camera.
To our listeners out there, we have now got an official camera recording.
Podcasting camera.
We're not doing it on Mr. Rickenberg's pesky little phone. We are just stepping up levels here, aren't we?
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Microphone, so we should be crisp.
And we can see ourselves. That's why we keep like.
Can you see yourself all the way, or are you blocked off by the camera a bit?
No, I can see myself. I just can't actually see myself. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But do we look crystal clear, Ava? No, I can see.
Because we can see.
Oh, so Ava now can't see.
Yeah.
Well, I can see you in real life.
Of course. All right.
What are you drinking today, sir?
Well, I'm drinking a lukewarm coffee made by Mr. Rickenberg. What did you do? Fill up with a warm tap out like the sink?
I'll tell you what it is. New coffee today.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, it is Nescafe, but it is the cheapest Nescafe I could find. There was Kenko. No, it was Kenko. I was going to get the posh Kenko because it was a club card, but I remember left my phone so you could carry on listening to the podcast. So it's nice coffee. Yeah. Colombian, all fair trade.
Oh, it's fair trade.
I don't buy anything else other than fair trade stuff.
Yeah. Alright,
I love it. But you're no sugar. You still no sugar?
Oh, I had two because I had to get the train this morning.
You had sugar in that one?
I had two.
Did you?
Yeah, this week I've relapsed. Yeah, I need help. So it's nice coffee. Ava, what are you drinking today?
I have got mango passion fruit orange smoothie.
Don Simon again.
Very
Brilliant.
nice.
Do you reckon the little speaker on top of this camera is picking our voices up better?
I really hope so.
Imagine if you can't hear it. Well, 2 minutes.
No, we'll be right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Alright, so, okay.
Yeah, because you can see that little green bar that's going up on your jacket. There's a little green bar that's moving. That's us talking.
Alright, wicked. Okay, so what's first on our agenda this morning, Ava?
Shout outs.
Whoa! What's the first shout out?
Arches.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know how to explain Arches.
Arches is a
enthusiastic,
wonderful student of ours in Year 8. He, I would say he's one of the biggest fans of Jogging Around the World.
Oh, he's absolutely obsessed with it.
He absolutely loves it. Yesterday when I was covering his lesson, I think he mentioned Jogging Around the World about 15 times. So
He's also in line with that. He's got an absolute obsession with Max Verstappen.
Loves Formula 1.
And it riles me up because I do not like Max Verstappen. And he knows that. And he really gets under my skin. And I'll go, Max Verstappen weren't very good this weekend, was he? And he'll go, no, we've actually got a bet with him. And I said, it's actually to do with the podcast, I said, if Max Verstappen wins the title, then you can come on podcast.
Is that what you said to him? Right, so...
he's an absolute shoe-in, so he'll be our regular guest, I think.
So he will be in. So the reason we are shouting out Arches is because he has given us our interesting fact for the day, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So we will come back to Arches later on in the episode. But Arches, this is your shout out.
There you go, Arches. That's for you, mate.
There you go. Well done. Okay, anyone else?
Pillar day.
So...
Wednesday.
We didn't even ask. We didn't say our usual. How's your week been?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly yesterday when we went to the soft drinks house.
Yeah,
and you said this week feels like a half term.
Yeah, I felt Monday felt like a week. The whole week's felt like a whole half term.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was done. I was goosed. Yeah. So we had Pillar Day. We build character in this place, don't we? For our parents who listen and our worldwide listeners. Big thing here we do at HACH is we build character. So we do our Pillar Day trips. Year 7 did a murder mystery day in school. Year 8 went to the Essex Riviera that is Southend-on-Sea, Westcliff, and went to see Greece at Cliffs Pavilion. They had a good time. Yeah. Apparently they said it was quite inappropriate and there was a lot of sort of like dirty dancing in it or something. Yeah, and there was a kissing scene or something.
You're joking.
Somehow someone got pregnant in it. I was like, wow, well. And do you know what Mr. Petchy described Greece as? He went, I don't want to go because it's, what did he say? gang violence and like rap battles or something like that. I was like, that's quite funny. And then year 9, where did you take year 9? Because you joined us for that trip.
Yes, we went to Rest Park in Bedfordshire, and it was great.
And it was where Bridgerton was filmed.
Yeah, Bridgerton. There was also where loads of stuff was filmed, actually. There was a couple of other things that were filmed in there. Can't remember what they were off the top of my head. It was on the list that we didn't have on the trip.
Yeah.
Where loads of stuff was filmed. But it was really good. The park was good. You did a bit more interior, didn't you? You did a bit of wayfinding.
Yeah, and the grounds were incredible. I just always love thinking, imagine you owned one of those big country manors back in the day, and that was your house, that was your garden. It was beautiful. It was really nice, and I'd highly recommend going, like, if anyone wants to go for a nice walk. It's a bit of a drive to get there, but it was worth it. And they do like a Narnia thing at Christmas where they light it all up, so I reckon it'd be pretty cool. But it'd be nice to go at Christmas time. Year 10, they did life skills, didn't they?
How was it?
No, year 11. Come on. Year 10 did like life skills, so we learned how to like manage money and pay bills and stuff.
Right.
Which I think is pretty good. Again, building character. And Ava, how was your day?
We saw a pantomime. Is that how you would say it?
Yeah, it's a Christmas Carol.
Or theatre and education.
Right. Okay. Of what? What was
Christmas Carol.
Nice. And was it good?
Yeah, it was like there was only 3 people.
Yeah.
But like they kept changing costumes like really quickly.
Did they do pretty well for 3 of them?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. And I suppose it's good because Christmas Carol is a big part of your English GCSE, isn't it? So it's good to see a live performance of it.
And a lot of people missed it a little bit last year as well. So
Right.
it was quite good.
Oh no, that's good. Something very different as well. And obviously, you guys, you're on a timer here, aren't you? So you need to be getting your work done. So that's good. To combine the two. So that was Pillar Day shout out, and we have to shout out Miss Braggins. Every member of staff helps on Pillar Day, so we can't name them all.
Yeah.
But well done to everybody. But Miss Braggins was head honcho, so big shout out to her. Any other shout outs?
That's it.
I want to shout a happy birthday to Dylan.
Oh, Dylan Atcar's got a happy birthday. You got any more shout outs, Ava?
There's one that's not on the list.
Right, what's that one?
Well, it's Mr. Rickenberg's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, right, yeah. How old are you tomorrow, Sam?
28.
28.
It's good because we had last year. It was the day after my birthday last year. I think we did a podcast, so it's a nice little diary of how much wider I'm getting over the years.
Especially that wide lens.
Yeah.
What you doing for your birthday? You doing anything nice?
Tonight my girlfriend's coming down. Makes it sound like she's miles away, which she does, to be fair. But she's coming down. We're going to. Luckily, this is going out afterwards. But we're going to Boom Battle Bar in the O2.
Nice.
Playing some interactive darts.
Oh, cool.
And I'm just going to wipe the floor with everyone.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow I think I'm going to have a meal with all my family because I do share my birthday with both of my sisters.
Oh.
And yeah.
Oh, your older sister as well?
Yeah.
All 3 of you?
Yeah, we bought on my older sister's 4th birthday.
That's mad. So
Yeah,
you and your twin. Do you know Mr. Wickenberg's a twin?
No,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mr. Wickenberg's a twin, and then your older sister. That's pretty mad.
Yeah, she said she wanted a dog.
Good.
Your brother and sister were absolutely fuming, hopping. She was, yeah.
Right. Okay. Excellent. So that's happy birthday. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much.
Anything else? Are we moving on now to our topic?
Yes.
Well, I got a request from Sid in my year 12 class saying, "Do you still do the podcast?"
Yeah.
Of course we do. It's the only thing we think about.
Yeah.
And can you do more year 12 thing, more year 12 stuff? I was like, to be honest, you're not really our target audience. I was very honest with them. And I was like, so you can't make requests to me like that. Who do you think you are, right? So, but then we decided that we did migration before. I think we touched on social inequality, which is a bit year A-level, but we're going to dedicate this one to our A-level students today.
Right.
And we're going to do space and place there.
Space and place.
Yeah.
Big topic in A-level, that, isn't it?
Massive.
But it's important because didn't we touch upon space and place for our year 7s as well?
Yes.
Very loosely introduced it to them. And I think the concept of space and place relates to anyone who likes geography, to do with human geography, and it can link to all sorts of different stuff.
Yeah, you're going to get an absolute masterclass today, Eva. And this is A-level geography, this is university geography we're talking about here.
It's putting the pressure on now, isn't it? And we're going to do it sort of focused around Chafford 100?
Yes.
Okay, right, so let's go then.
Start off, space and place, we're talking about concepts here.
Right.
We're not talking about, when we're talking about concepts, we're talking about things that are different in each person's head.
Yeah.
We can have a definition for these things, but it's very abstract.
Yeah.
So place was first defined in about the 1980s because we can say this is a place, but now place actually has a definition. Right?
Yeah.
So a place is an area that you have emotional attachment to.
Yeah.
Right? So what a place is a place is completely personal to you, right? So I've got places which are personal to me, you've got places which are personal to you, right? So I would say my places first of all.
Yeah.
So my places that I would have emotional attachment to, either positive or negative, lovely Canby Island.
Yeah.
I would argue, best place on earth.
Yeah.
By a country mile.
Right.
Nowhere actually comes close to it, right? The fact that it's gridlock going on in an evening shows how popular it is. Yeah, because there's clearly loads of stuff going on there.
He's actually trying to figure out how many people drive off the island every day to work.
There must be so much entertainment going on, right? And then they clearly all stay over because they'll leave in the morning, right? So that's a place for me, and that's because I live there and I absolutely love it.
Right.
HACH is a place for me.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously where I work, got emotional attachment here. What's interesting is that my emotional attachment to HACH is going to be very different to Ava's.
Yeah.
Because she's a student here, so the way, we'll talk about place perception in a minute, the way we perceive that is going to be different. Stamford Bridge, home of my beloved Chelsea FC, and Reading as well, I would argue, because we're in university. So all of these things are places to me because I've got something in my head that has sort of like emotional attachment to it. What are your places, Chris?
So for me, again, the Essex Riviera, that is Westcliff-on-Sea, Southend. That's where I live. I love it. Absolutely love living there. Again, we've got a similar one in HACH. It's where I work. It's where I spend 95% of my time. White Hart Lane for me would be a place for.
What about Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
All right, fine. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for where the mighty Spurs play. And for me, it would be Manchester because that's where I studied my degree.
You had a cafe and stuff like that.
Cafe up there, and 11 years of my life I spent living up there. So, so we have got some similar ones. We've also got some different ones.
So for different reasons, right? And then we've got the opposite of place, which is space,
right?
And space is a place where space is an area that you have no emotional attachment to, right? So the best way to describe this, right, is if you're going on holiday somewhere. Say you've got places where you've been on holiday. So for me, like Greece is, or like Crete is a place for me. And then you could even argue somewhere like Stansted is a place because you've got all that excitement and feeling around it. But that time when you're in the aeroplane and you're travelling to that area, you're travelling through space because you have no emotional attachment to the areas around you. So it's like this almost like empty void that you're travelling through between the places. This is what I mean. It's a concept. It's quite tricky to understand. But that's the definition. A place is an area that you have emotional attachment to. A space is an area that you do not have any emotional attachment to.
And like you say, it's how it's perceived by people. So say I used the example when I was teaching this. That say you're flying from say Heathrow to New York. Heathrow, again, a place because you've got emotional attachment to it. New York, you're excited to get there, emotional attachment to it. The Atlantic Ocean in the middle is just this huge space that you'd be travelling over that you don't really feel anything about. However, if you're a fisherman and you work in the Atlantic Ocean, that is your place. So it changes. It's how it's perceived by people.
Talking about perception, we can also understand how different places are perceived by people based on different sort of characteristics that they have.
So that's what we're going to move into now.
So when we're talking about place perception, what are some of the factors that can influence a person's place perception?
So it could be gender, age, ethnicity. What else have we got?
So we've got age, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, and we'll stick with those sometimes. Those four, we'll stick with those four, right? So gender's an interesting one. If you're going to a football game, a woman might not so much anymore, but they're seen as male-dominated places. So their perception of that place might be different, and they could enjoy themselves, but they might not enjoy themselves so much because of how this place is perceived. Right? Certain places, especially with sexuality, if you are someone who's gay or LGBTQ, somewhere like Brighton's you're going to have a very positive place perception of that area because of how inclusive and stuff like that is, right? If you're someone who has other beliefs and other views, somewhere like Brighton, you're going to have a negative place perception about because that's the sort of stuff that you don't like. For right or
religion
wrong.
The other one.
Religion is the other one. So somewhere like a mosque is going to have big place perception for someone who is religious, who is Muslim, but someone who is either atheist or any of the other religions, that's just a building. You know it's a mosque, but you don't have any of that sort of close personal ties to it.
No, interesting. Really interesting.
So these are just the different ways.
And a good one we also sort of touched upon is the age one, a park. So when you're young, you go ride your bike around the park. Teenagers hang out in parks and do other things in there, and then
Maybe
elderly
social
people.
things,
then people who's maybe our age, we might go for a walk through a park, and you might get to a certain age where you want to avoid parks because they're loud, or you might feel a little bit unsafe. It's age can really determine how you feel about a place as well.
And then, just so our listeners who are, well, we would argue mostly based in Chapel 100, or the most people that listen to this podcast know about Chapel 100, we're going to move away from place perception to place identity now. Right. So just rattling through this, right? So what makes Chapel 100 Chapel 100?
To me, I think the train station's massively important to Trafford 100. If you took away that train station, I think you'd lose the vast majority of the population.
Yeah, so Trafford 100 is an interesting one, because when we're talking about place identity, we're talking about what the demographics like, we're talking about what's the built environment like, what's the natural environment like. We're also looking at things like politics and stuff like that. So demographics of Trafford's an interesting one, right? So I think Trafford 100 is actually quite a young area in terms of actual age of the area and the people within it. You've got families with children in Trafford 100, predominantly, right? And the built environment's interesting because I think in Trafford 100 you've almost got two sides to it. You've got the area by the San Martin, which are all these sort of big houses and stuff like that, and then you get close to the train station, and it's almost like a labyrinth where everything's really packed together. Right? You've got more flats and stuff this side of Trafford 100, and then over to the San Martin way, you've got a little bit more space for everyone. So that's sort of like the built environment, and you can't say Trafford 100 without thinking about one place. That's Lakeside, right? Built environment. It's almost feels sometimes you're in an industrial estate. Like there's been a town placed, and all the way outside it is industrial. Right, because you've got the River Thames there, you've got Purfleet just down the road, there's Tilbury just down the road as well. So it's an interesting place in that regard. The natural environment's interesting as well, because we talk about Trafford all the time, and what was Trafford? Chalk quarry. And you said it perfectly, where when you go to Lakeside and you look out, or you go to the train station and look out, you're above it.
Lakeside. So when you go down the stairs to Lakeside, and when you say that to the kids, they're like, "Oh yeah." You stand at the platform and look out. You can't see Lakeside. You can just see the top of it because it's dug into the chalk quarry.
So when we talk about the built environment, then that's what's interesting about it, is that it's very undulating. You've got very, very built up area, but then you've got like a what do you call it? A gorge. You've got like a little. Is there like a little lake in the gorge?
Yeah, there is.
So you've got that
nature
sort of
park. Is it Davy Down, the nature park?
That's more the North Stifford way, isn't it? But and then one of the other things that we could talk about is the past characteristics of it, and that's what's interesting about Trafford, is that there are none. Because there's no like. What I love about Trafford is that you can see pictures of it being built, and then when you throw that picture up of what the M25 looked like, and then you're saying, look, they're building Lakeside there. Kids can't believe it. It's almost like a new town. But one of the main things that shapes Trafford 100 is the idea of shifting flows of people, because it's one of the strangest commuter towns that I've ever sort of experienced. Right? People know Trafford 100 because they get out of the train station and go down some steps and go into Lakeside. Right? I didn't know there was anything the other side. When I was younger, all I knew was that Tesco's and the roundabout. I didn't know what was the other side of it. And when I drove here to the school for my interview for the job here, which is now about 6 or 7 years ago, I was just amazed of what was the other side of that roundabout. Right? It's incredible. So no real path characteristics. It's not really like any other place in Britain, I don't think, this area. We've got the busiest school run in the UK.
Is it the busiest?
We've got the busiest single track train station in the United Kingdom.
Is that what it is? It's the busiest single train, because that is mad, that train station. It's so busy and it's single track. Imagine the difference it made if they made it to double track. You could get twice as many trains through it.
And the fact it's just the one. I was sort of like amazed how trains don't crash on it.
But that's why they have to wait like 20 minutes for a train each way.
So I think that is the that's the identity of it. It's a place.
And what? Okay, go on.
It's a place that was built. It's purpose built. Hence the free schools here. They know it's a commuter town. They know that people living around this area do tend to actually earn a fair bit of money. Right. However, it is in Thurrock, so in that quote unquote is sort of like a private area as well. So you get a real mixture, a real hodgepodge of people here, and sort of love it as well.
It's weird as much as I wouldn't live here, partly because the kids wouldn't ever leave me alone.
No.
But when you think about it being purpose-built, it's really interesting as well. It's like the San Martin's a new pub, and Lange, which obviously we've never been to either. Yeah. Apparently they're decent, both of them, but they're both just brand new, aren't they? It's not like when you go to London and you see really old sort of style pubs that have been there, like taverns and stuff. So it really is purpose-built. So you take that train station away, back to our sort of original point, that commuter town, I think it would really change the demographics.
It doesn't exist.
And then if we talk about the ethnicity, if you talk about our school here, HACH, how multicultural this place is, you know, it really is a melting pot of different ethnicities, religions, faiths.
When you start asking them, like, where did your parents come from, where did grandparents come from, it's very few that are completely and utterly white British. Yeah. Which is obviously, I think we're in sort of agreement where diversity is a fantastic thing.
Of course.
Right? So it is incredibly diverse, and it's benefited from the quality of.
Do we think that that's because of its proximity to London?
Yeah.
So that's
and also we've got that background here because of Tilbury.
Yeah.
And we've got the.
Of course, yeah.
And what was that? The Windrush generation.
Yeah.
So they would have got off. They would have got off the boats, and they would have gone into London, and they would have maybe settled around this area as well. We've got quite heavy Black Caribbean population,
which would obviously link to that.
Yeah, and then we've also got quite a big Asian population as well.
Yeah.
It's hard to sort of sum up the identity of some of these places, but I think it's an interesting sort of case study and an interesting thing to look at it. And I do think that we need to.
What time we on?
7 past.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So that is Chafford 100 then.
That's Chafford 100.
Place and space identity.
Yeah, and I think what's different with this podcast to the others is the other ones are very. This happened. We talk about this and this and this, but with A level, you'll find it when you're teaching it. You just talk.
Yeah, it's a lot of talking. It's hard, and it's hard to pinpoint exact things. You could go on. We could sit and talk about this for ages. Yeah.
But I do like talking about the A level stuff. So maybe we do try and sort of filter it in a bit more into the podcast.
And our younger students, Ava, hopefully now you might look at Chafford in a slightly different place. Because if you're from here and this is all you know, and
it's interesting to get I was about to call it academics, and I suppose you are, but like an academic's perspective on a place where you live. Like I remember talking to a student a couple of years ago, and I was like, "We're going to go down Wistful High Street," and they're like, "What's a high street?"
Yeah,
because Chafford doesn't have one.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But then also, why, if you was born in Chafford 100 and you lived in Chafford 100 and you've got everything you'd ever wanted in Lakeside just across the way there, why would you ever want to leave?
Yeah, that's it. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Why would you ever want to leave? Yeah. Should we leave it on that note?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
Okay, what is next on our agenda? That was good, well done, I find that fascinating.
The news.
Donald Trump.
DT, yeah.
Yeah. Totally impartial podcast. Donald Trump is in power.
And because I know that the world listens, congratulations, Mr. Trump, President Trump, 47th President of the United States. It's interesting.
It's really interesting.
I think in Britain, we've got this idea that Americans don't know what they're doing. How on earth could they vote this man in? But I think we've got to look at it a little bit more objectively and say what is going on there so that these people vote for him. Because it's not like he won by a small margin. He absolutely wiped the floor with Kamala Harris.
He really did.
And he was saying that, I'm going to win this state by 17 points, I'm going to win this state by this much, this much, this much. And then the poll at the end gave the win to Kamala Harris, the Democrats, and he won it exactly how he said he was going to win it. I think there's a lot of secret Trump voters out there who, to their friends and their family, won't say they're voting for someone like Donald Trump. And as soon as they're in the privacy of that booth and no one can see what they're doing, they're taking that Republican box.
I think that was the
big
thing.
He speaks to a lot of people. And I think what he makes a lot of people feel like is that their opinions are sort of justified and their opinions matter, right?
Yeah.
Whether I agree with his policies or not is a completely different question. But it's interesting to see now what happens because he's got the House of Representatives and he's got the Senate. For the first time, he's won all three.
Yeah.
So now, what can happen is he can put something forward, and they go, yep, and then it goes into law. Whereas before, if he's a Republican and the Democrats, the other party, have got the Senate, he'll propose something, and they'll go, no, that's not happening. That's ridiculous. So, as A-level geographers and as geographers, interested to see what happens in migration.
Yeah.
And interested to see what happens in the war of Ukraine and the war in Israel.
Yeah.
Interesting to see what happens there.
So we keep our eyes peeled. Next bit of news, Ava.
The Valencia floods.
Those images.
Never. I've genuinely never seen anything like it.
No, we'll do this quite quickly because we are running out of time. But a year's worth of rain fell in a day.
Yes, and what happened in Spain, which I didn't know, because people were kicking off at the Prime Minister or the President of Spain,
king,
right?
What is it, the King?
And the King, both of them,
yeah.
right? And they were pelting mud at them,
Yeah.
right? And the reason for that is because they were blaming the President or the Prime Minister of Spain for not sending the emergency services out. But how the government works in Spain is that it's devolved, right? So the leader of Valencia was the person who was in charge of getting the emergency services out, right? They didn't send out flood warning until it had already flooded. So people had no warning, people had nothing, right? When they hadn't even, well, by the time the Prime Minister and the King had got there, they still hadn't cleaned the understory car parks under the building. So there could have been people down there.
Yeah.
So these people were angry.
They are very angry. There's massive protest planned for this weekend.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well because some of the people that are protesting, they're coming from places like Madrid. So there is this also idea that, and unfortunately some people are using the floods as an excuse to protest against the government, where in reality what we're actually thinking about is the people who unfortunately sort of lost their lives, and the Mediterranean's got to get more used to this because what climate change is going to do to the Mediterranean is make it wetter.
Yeah.
And they're not a country. Spain's not a country that's used to the wet, so it's something that they've got to get used to.
Essentially, a tidal wave swept through the city.
And we're up to 250, 300 deaths at this stage.
So that's, from a geography point of view, it's really interesting to think about like causes and then also responses.
Especially responses. Responses are really interesting.
Okay, what are we up to, Ava?
Fact.
Arches is fact.
So
This lake in Tanzania.
this lake. Now it's called Lake. I've written it down.
Natron.
Lake. I think it's Matron.
Is it
Natron?
Natron.
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 Natron. Have you googled it?
Yeah.
Is it Natron?
It's not saying.
And it's the lake, the dead, is it?
It's called the Deadly Lake.
The Deadly Lake.
Now so this lake is alkaline and it's incredibly salty.
Yeah.
Right? And because of that, it calcifies. If anything dies in there, it turns it to stone.
The photos are mad.
The photos are
It's
pretty
bright red, and it turns animals to stone when they die. It calcifies them.
And the only thing that can really survive in there are flamingos.
Because their long legs.
Because they're long legs, and because of what their legs are made of, they can withstand it. Right? Anything else that goes in there literally just burns alive and turns to stone. I'm pretty sure I remember saying this was on Planet Earth.
Yeah, it was on Planet
right?
Earth. Yeah.
And these poor creatures that are trying to hunt, and all of a sudden they just fall in.
And they get stuck, and that's
So they get stuck and turn to stone.
So their arches is his shout out regarding.
It's Deadly Lake. The Deadly Lake. It's a good fact. Have a look at it because it is really, really interesting. And yeah.
It is pronounced Natron.
Natron.
Thank
you. You were right,
Yeah,
Ava.
I was right.
Okay, superb. What is next?
The weather.
It's not weather forecast, sir. I
No,
watched a funny video yesterday.
No clear blues out there.
Well, no, I watched a very funny video yesterday, and it was a guy who was talking about. He called up the sun. He was like, "Where you been? You've not been coming to work for 2 weeks." He was like, you're on the 3 till 5 shift. Come on, in the winter it's 2 hours on. No, is it 2 days on, 8 days off? That's the case. And he's like, otherwise I'm going to stick you on the Sahara shift. And he was like, what happened to... He was like, snow messed around and now he's up in the North Pole forever. So see what happened. It was funny. He's called Cam Questions. It's not appropriate for everyone.
Very childish.
But we've got high pressure dominating at the moment, sir. And because of that high pressure, the very tips of northern Scotland have got any sunshine at all. We're not going to get any sun over the weekend.
Did you say high pressure or do you mean low pressure?
No, it's high pressure.
Right.
So what we've got an unfortunate situation here. When it's really stable like this, I know we say it's like lousy weather, but the problem is this cloud isn't actually particularly thick.
Right.
Because of this high pressure, it's almost like it's like putting something in a jar and shutting it.
Right.
So this cloud's already over the UK. The cloud's all over Europe. And this high pressure is just keeping it there. So we do need a bit of low pressure just to come through and just wash it away. And then I think when I looked at the weather, it was next Saturday is our next sunny day, Ava. Can you just confirm that?
Can we check?
Did it say next Saturday is our next sunshine?
Yes.
Wow.
Full sunshine, but it's only 11 degrees.
And what's the weather saying for the weekend, Ava?
Just cloud, 14, 15.
Right,
So
okay then.
there's clouds, there's rain.
Well, that was a lot in that, wasn't there?
That was a lot. It's now 16 minutes past.
Oh, right, I've got work to do. Okay.
And what have we been going? 31 minutes. Been
Right.
a long one.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ava, for today. We
Thank you for the camera.
Thank you very much for the camera and taking the time to set it up. We have got another task for you for the weekend, but we'll keep that a secret from our listeners. Keep your eyes peeled for some new socials news. Should we leave it at that?
I think so, yeah.
Have a lovely weekend,
Have a
folks.
lovely weekend.
Thank you very much.